Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to be checking out Baekjeong, which is an upscale Korean barbecue chain. I first tried them out a few years ago when I visited LA, and they're a Southern California chain. However, they recently branched out to Northern California and they opened a branch in my area around a year ago. One of the things that makes them unique is typically a Korean barbecue, you cook all of the meat on the grill at the table yourself, but here at Baekjeong, what they do is that someone will come over to your table and cook for you. So I think that's part of the reason it's so popular, and the location I'm heading to today is the location of Valley Fair Mall, and seriously, it has been packed, it has been crowded, it has been crazy for the past year, so I had to get a reservation, so let's go and check it out. I just got seated here at Baekjeong, and the table is already arranged, and they have a variety of little banchan dishes, which are just like little Korean side dishes that go with Korean barbecue, and I think they're gonna come over pretty soon to take our order and bring out some of the meat. I just ordered for my main dish, I got their small combination. It just came with a variety of meats, and for an appetizer I also got the japchae, which is a Korean stir-fried noodle dish. I also had to try their kimchi pancake as well, which is like a kimchi pancake mixed with a little bit of squid. I also saw that they had tripe fried rice, so I ordered that as well since I've never seen that before. For my first meat, they grilled up this beautiful thinly sliced beef brisket. They used this large cube of beef fat to oil the grill, and I mean, come on, that is the only real way to do Korean barbecue. Let's go for a taste of our brisket right now while it's still hot. It's perfectly crispy looking. Oh, that is delicious. The brisket is so rich and flavorful, and I didn't add any salt or seasoning. I just had it plain, and that's how I know it's great. I can tell that it hasn't been frozen because it has such a light and thin, crispy texture, and I love how fatty it is as well. But now I want to taste it dipped in some of our sauce. I just gave it a dip in our sauce, and I just believe it's like a vinegar, and I got it with a little bit of jalapeno. Well, that is very nice. That is a much needed sauce, because it really does have a sharp tang of vinegar. And typically, I'm not a big vinegar person. However, I do love it with Korean barbecue, because it really cuts through all that fattiness and richness of the meat. And it could use a little bit of spice, so I love the jalapeno.
Next was this boneless short rib, which had some stunning marbling.
Now I'm gonna go for the boneless short rib, and this is the item I was looking forward to the most because it looks so marbled. It almost looks like Wagyu, so I'm only gonna dip this in salt because that's really all it needs when it's this premium cut of meat. Oh, that is incredible. Although it's not A5 Wagyu, it still tastes like it could be a lower grade Wagyu because of all the marbling in there. It's just so fatty and delicious. I love how as you bite into it, you can just feel the streaks of fat throughout the meat, but my only criticism is it is a little bit on a chewy side, even though it's been cooked medium rare. I mean, it's juicy, it's fatty, but there just is a little bit of a gristly chew to it, but still, it is a really premium meat and quite tasty.
Next, for one of my favorite cuts, pork belly.
For our next meat, I'm gonna go for their pork belly, and it just looks really fatty and crazy. And again, I'm gonna give it a dip in our vinegar because you really gotta have something tart to just cut through all the fat of this. Oh, the pork belly is fantastic. It is delicious because I love that their grill is really hot. So this gets this umami tasting crust on the outside of the meat. Just all the fat and juice that leaks out of the pork as it cooks. And this forms this irresistible crusty bite. And then again, it is really fatty. And this is a more rich and heavy cut, but I still enjoy it nonetheless. I'm also gonna get a bite with some wasabi since they add some wasabi to the sauce as well. I like that they smear a little bit of wasabi on the side of the sauce because that goes great with the pork belly, because I feel like that extra kick of spice that just kind of warms up your nostrils really helps cut through some of the extra fat.
For my final meat, I had the marinated pork.
For final meat, I'm gonna go for their marinated pork, and I'm just gonna have this one plain, since I guess it doesn't really need any seasoning. Oh, this is awesome. I really love the taste of this because the flavoring is so unique. It really reminds me of like a Galbi steak marinade. And what's interesting about this is it's a very fatty cut of pork, but I really like how that sort of sweet and sticky, savory umami marinade goes with this pork because it is a really nice complement. Now I'm gonna go for their egg omelet, which was just cooking the whole time in a little trough next to all the meat. So I'm a little scared since it looks like it might have gone a little overcooked. You probably want to eat this towards the start of the meal, but nonetheless, here we go. Wow, that is surprisingly quite tasty. I wasn't too sure because I was worried it might be a little burnt or a little bit charred. It is a tad bit on the dry side, but I personally actually do kind of like my eggs a bit more on the dry side, and the benefit is the outside is so crispy. It's almost like an egg chip. I really love how crunchy and satisfying it is, and the omelet itself is so light and fluffy. I love how it's just like whipped eggs, so it has such a pleasing texture. If you like it more on the runny side, I would recommend just taking it out at the very beginning because they actually tell you when you can eat it, and it is more of like a soft cooked omelet then. Another one of their famous items is the corn cheese, and unfortunately I should have gone to this sooner as well since it's a little bit more charred and crispy, but once again, who doesn't like a little bit of crispy fried cheese? Hey, that is actually really good. You know, I think it might be better overcooked because of all the corn in there. Kind of the juice is condensed at the bottom and mixed with the cheese, and it just caramelizes and gets really sugary sweet. I mean, this is almost like a sweet treat. I love the sweetness of the corn and just the crispiness of the cheese, but if you go on it sooner, you could just eat it at the very beginning. It actually cooks really quick, and then it's more of like a melty and gooey cheesy spread mixed with all the corn. Now I'm gonna go for our soybean stew, which also came with the combo meal, and it looks like there's kimchi, meat, tofu, and even some clams in here. Ooh, that is fantastic. That is rich and spicy. You just get hit with the kimchi taste at the very beginning, and you get some of the fatty meat in there, and there's also tofu, and I like the little pieces of clams in there as well. It's just like a really comforting stew, and I feel like if you had a big bowl of this, it could be a meal on its own. Now I'm gonna go for a tripe fried rice, and this looks amazing because it looks like a kimchi fried rice base, and I remember I really enjoyed their kimchi rice the last time I visited. Oh, that is fantastic. I really like how they bring it out in this frying pan because it's not just for show, it's for the taste because it gives the rice a nice crispiness and it is quite spicy. I taste the kimchi in there. There's also bits of spicy radish, which adds such a pleasant crunch. And then the tripe is cut very small. And if I didn't tell you it was tripe, you'd probably never know because it just tastes like little meaty bits of goodness. So if you've never had tripe before, this is a really good introduction to it, and it's a banger of a side dish. Now I'm gonna just dig right into this japchae. I know it was an appetizer, but I mean, come on, this is crazy. This would be what I would call a light entree because there's noodles in here, there's also vegetables, and there's a little bit of beef bulgogi in there. Well, their japchae here is out of this world. This is some of the best japchae I've had in a really long time. What I love about it is the noodles are very well seasoned. There's plenty of sesame oil and soy on there, and it's not greasy either. And I love the texture of the noodles because they're sweet potato starch noodles, which means they have a really pleasant, chewy and bouncy texture. I made it to my final dish, and it's safe to say I ordered way too much food, but I'm all for it. This is the kimchi pancake, and it's mixed in there with a little bit of squid, and I have a feeling this is gonna be quite tasty. Seems a little crispy on the outside as well. Oh, again, this is so delicious. I love this, not overly spicy. On the outside, again, you have a perfect crisp, which is just a light, crispy layer. And the inside, it's really doughy, and in my opinion, that's how these Korean pancakes should be. And there's also little pieces of tender squid in there, which, by the way, is very fresh. And now I'm really curious because the waiter recommended that I dip it in some of the dipping sauce that I used for the meat earlier. This is just that vinegar dipping sauce that I loved so much earlier, and I think it'll go pretty well with this. Oh yeah, I am so thankful that he told me to do that because that is amazing. I mean, like I said earlier, I'm not a big fan of vinegary dishes. I really don't like vinegar typically, but this vinegar seasoning is like liquid gold. I'm starting to think now it might be mixed in with a little bit of soy sauce because it tastes a little bit savory, and I really taste the onions and the jalapeno, which soaks into it, and that goes so good with this kimchi pancake because it really just adds this zingy freshness. This was awesome. This was just a crazy feast. I know it wasn't cheap, but man, it was delicious. I love the combo set since it gave me a variety of the meats, and I'd say my favorites from that were the marinated pork at the end, and I also love that short rib because of how fatty and marbled it was. And as far as the sides go, we were really spoiled for choice. I mean, there were even more sides on the menu that I didn't order, but out of what I got, everything was unique and tasty. I mean, the rice was delicious if you want a rice dish. If you want a noodle dish, get the japchae. And if you want something really filling and crispy and just satisfying, then get the pancake. Overall, this was delicious and a fantastic meal, so I definitely recommend checking out Baekjeong. I really do feel like you're getting your bang for your buck when you go here. Anyways, as always, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did, give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.